Bro, look at how Pablo's looking at him. Yo, real recognize real. Jesus.
Out of this world.
Last video of the night, guys. We will do SB19, The Ultimate Sound Break by Cashual Chuck. Shout out to Chuck.
When you hear the words pop music and the
If you're a fan of SB19, I'm sure you're a fan of Cashual Chuck. I'm a fan of Cashual Chuck. And I hope you are doing well, my friend. I'm sure Chuck is friggin' hype, getting ready for SB19 to drop their stuff. Let's get it. Drop a like on this. Boy, his video's got 116K. Very
best
good.
boy band, who comes to mind? What if I told you that the most overlooked boy group in our generation might be these guys?
I'd say that they probably were overlooked. As of right now, I'd say that they're not overlooked anymore. Bro,
In the last 6
bro, this is a classic. Like, yeah, this is when they dropped the Go Up, the Go Up video. They're reacting to it. They're so young here.
In the last 6 years, these guys turned a small Korean entertainment company into a company that produced the greatest P-pop group ever.
Leah, hello. Thank you. Appreciate it. Welcome. Gary V.
Proud of SB19.
Very
They don't
proud.
accomplish that without making a few enemies.
K-pop.
Lima pala sila.
K-pop pangit.
Some of them coming from unexpected places.
Pinoy ba daw?
Parang may ginaya rin eh.
But behind the group are 5 driven men who were about to transform what was once a laughingstock genre in music into the fastest growing genre of the world.
Ever since we had this goal, and not just for us, but for the entire industry.
Feeling ko hindi pa natin nakukuha yung recognition na
Whoa, 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 whoa. What is this? Where did Chuck pull this from? Is this 2022?
Of the world.
Ever since
This one, Fast Talk?
we had this goal, and
I want to react to this. What is this? I want to know what this is.
not just for us, but for the entire industry.
feeling ko hindi pa natin nakukuha yung recognition na dapat para sa atin.
Between disbanding before they even debuted,
All hope is lost parang nung time na yun.
becoming industry outcasts and getting bashed by their own countrymen,
Sana magkaroon tayo ng grupo na hindi naman mga kataasan ng tangos ng ilong. Para talagang original.
Noses that aren't too pointy. Like, bro, like, if that's all you can say about somebody is pointing out their physical feature, like, what does that say about who you are? Like, what?
Oo.
the rise of
Not
SB19
much.
may not be the greatest Filipino success story ever.
Maganda kasi yung revenge kasi talaga yung success na ipapakita mo sa mga outdoor
Success is the best revenge.
But it certainly is the most inspiring one.
Yeah. Bro, Chuck, boy, Chuck. Hello. Can we just give props to Chuck for this editing? The sound, the editing.
The most inspiring one.
Yeah, this editing is really good. Boy, ganda on abunda on GMA channel. Yeah. It's hard to believe that that's SB.
This is called Triple, a group of talented performers and comedians from Korea you've probably never heard of. They were formed back
Nope,
in
never heard of
1994 when the word K-pop hasn't even been invented. In 2002, one of the members made the biggest mistake of his life, which will change the entire course of P-pop history.
yo, like I don't know if you guys understand the things that Chuck is doing with this, like this editing, like the coloring, like the way that he is adjusting the images to make them so clear and stand out. It takes a lot of time to do this. Uh, kudos to you. Yeah, I see it. Yeah.
That member was Jong Song Han. It all started when he left the trio in 2002 to become an entrepreneur. Cult Triple became Cult 2. Most of their fans thought that Songhan's decision was a huge mistake because the remaining members started racking up different awards in the entertainment industry. If he only stuck around, he would have gotten those awards too. But this man's decision was final. He used all of his savings to build an event organizing company called Show BT Entertainment. Today we know him as Tatang Robin. Fast forward to 2015. The fight of the century just happened. One Direction's Drag Me Down was all over the radio, and Big Bang was the biggest K-pop boy group, while P-pop has top one project. Chances are, you have never heard of them. But
I
somewhere
haven't.
in Makati, Philippines, an
Till now.
audition was held. Tatang Robin was looking for young talents who would be part of the package of their service as an event organizers. Talents who can perform on their own but can also serve as backup dancers and singers to their main performers. One of the main attractions of the SAT audition was if you're good enough, you might just debut as a member of Show BT's first ever P-pop group to undergo a Korean style training. Filipinos don't get opportunities like that so often, so hundreds of talents applied, but only 30 made it as trainees. They were initially called the Show BT Musical Gala Team, but then later dubbed as Nara, which in Korean means country and also happens to be the national tree of the Philippines. If you're a fan who is deep into the P-pop scene, you would recognize some of the future P-pop stars, but one of the most notable ones is this guy. On the first day of training, one guy stood out because he was just alone standing awkwardly in the corner.
Alone, standing awkwardly in the corner. I'm pretty sure I mentioned this earlier about Pablo, how he, he awkwardly is in a corner somewhere, like it's just it's his personality and it's his comfort zone. Like I do it too. Like I'm very similar. Like you, oftentimes you can find me off in a space that nobody is in. It's a comfort mechanism like in social situations. This is a remake, so you will see some old clips used on the first. Yeah, he's taken his some of the old clips and cleaned them up. It's definitely in a higher, I believe it's in a higher resolution as well, and it's getting more to the point quickly, which is nice. Yeah, yeah.
Nung una, ang weird niya po, nagsasalita mag-isa.
He was facing the wall and making hand gestures as if he was rapping in front of it.
Nakatayo siya sa gilid,
Eminem.
biglang gaganon. Sabi ko, anong ginagawa na? Nagre-ritual ba ta sa gilid?
Some kind of
That
ritual.
guy was John Paulo Nasser. He always wanted to be a performer. As a young dreamer, he joined several competitions as a soloist and also as a member of the K-pop dance cover group called PHP. In training, he was the guy who shows up early and leaves late despite juggling a full-time job as a data analyst to help provide for his family. He was selected due to his undeniable diligence and leadership qualities. He is known to have critically acclaimed songwriting ability. Some of my sources even said that he had already written dozens of songs at this time. He's also a badass rapper and was often called a genius but consistently denied it because he claimed to be just a hard worker. This made him the destined leader.
And I think I've said this before, but you can call it what you want. Genius, hard worker, it doesn't matter. Like if you take a person in whatever they're doing, right? Like you, me, anyone, right? We all have 24 hours in a day, right? And if there is one person, let's say Pablo, for example, Olbap, let's say they spend 20 hours working on something, right? Let's say he's doing music for 20 hours, right? If he does that 7 days a week and everyone else in the world is doing it 19 hours, 18 hours, 10 hours, 5 hours, right? The amount of progression that somebody that works that much, the amount of progression they get in a year's period of time over a person, let's say they do a 1 hour less per week. If you do the mathematics, it puts you on a genius level because of the hard work that you're doing. You don't just you don't just come out the womb as a genius. There is people with natural gifts, natural talent. They're better than other people at certain things. However, once you have put in so much amount of work consistently, you're going like that's how we learn, right? Like if you think about how a baby learns how to walk, right? You can't just like tell a baby how to walk. You can't have a baby watch a video and be like, "This is how you walk." You do it by making mistakes and experiencing through it. So if you're making music 20 hours a day, eventually you're going to be considered a genius because you're just beyond everyone else. Hello, Kristana. Good morning. Consistency, discipline. Yes. Yes. If you guys have not seen Pablo's vlogs, you got to go see it. Yeah. He breaks down the things that make him who he is for sure. Brain
of the group.
exercise.
He was known as Sejun at the time, but
Sejun.
later would be known as Pablo.
Pablo.
30 trainees are a lot of trainees. It would take a very observant person with an eye for talent to notice Pablo in that corner. So who is that observant person with an eye for talent? Well, he was also a trainee. Stell Ahero. He was only a kid when he started competed as a performer. As a dancer, he racked up win after win on a national level with his.
You know, you could say that Stell is just as genius as Pablo, give or take. I mean, Stell is he works just as hard, if not harder. Like this guy, this guy Stell, he's limitless with his capabilities.
School crew and became their official choreographer, teaching crewmates 2 to 3 years older than him. He later joined a dance crew called Seon and went on to win international titles. Stell obviously worked so hard. Amidst his studies and competitions, he also worked part-time as a McDonald's service crew and teaching dance to kids with special needs. There was a point that he worked too hard that he wound up in the hospital. His poor health caused him to lose his earnings and nearly his life. Fortunately, he was able to recover. This made him the obvious choice to become the choreographer of the group. But little did they know that dancing wasn't his only talent.
And the thing about Stell too is if you guys like notice this is from the what like if you guys have not seen the making of what episodes, I highly suggest you go and watch them. It showcases a lot of Stell and what he brings. He is the standard for SB19 in their choreography. The guy is a perfectionist. He will work on the choreography during their choreography training. He'll work on it afterwards. He'll work on it before. This guy is a workhorse. He will not be satisfied until not only himself is up to a certain standard, but the whole group is. It's crazy. This guy's
talent. As a kid, he joined the school choir to become the only male soprano and only improved as he got older. He easily became the main heavenly voice of the group because his vocals were just...
Yeah, right, Sarah. Stell's the full package. Bro, look at how Pablo's looking at him. Yo, real recognize real.
Out of this world. Unlike Pablo, Stell was very friendly to everyone. In fact, one of his closest friends also auditioned and made it as a trainee. This friend is nothing to be trifled with because having the worst upbringing among the others made him the strongest when it comes down to pure guts and determination. Josh Cullen Santos. He left home at the age of 16 and it was his decision. From growing up in a toxic environment to being physically abused as a kid by their nanny. I'm talking about getting poured candle wax all over their body. At an
Like,
early age, he experienced what it felt like to be a member of a middle-class family that went rock bottom in just a matter of months. They got evicted from medium-sized apartments to increasingly smaller rooms. It came to a point when his family had nothing to eat with rice but ketchup and salt. They had no permanent address. Because of that, Josh and his sister dropped out of school multiple times, so they got bullied at school for being repeaters. Sometimes he would even get into fistfights for defending her. Josh had enough of this, so he decided to leave to become independent and started working as an internet cafe attendant. Using his own income, he took
I'm not gonna like. I've already reacted to Chuck's documentary that covers Josh. Josh's upbringing, I relate to it heavily. Like Josh and I have so many similarities in real life. It's actually kind of crazy. Things we've been through, one sister, fist fights, school, all sorts of issues. I would just say if you haven't seen my reactions to Chuck's documentaries for Josh, his other documentaries, I suggest you check it out. I go into a pretty emotional deep dive on my connection on my experiences, and how I connect them with Josh. The thing about Josh is these things will never leave him, no matter what, and it will always translate through his music. Every time that he performs, you can really feel the emotion pour through him, because when you go through stuff like that, it changes you. Your emotions are all out of control because you've received so much trauma, right? This guy, to be able to go through what he's gone through and what he continues to go through and still push forward, it's impressive.
the alternative learning system
Strength.
to attain his high school degree. He initially had no
Uh
background in
huh.
performing.
I watched that
Not
first
until he
one.
found
Yes.
Stell performing with his dance group called Seyon. Josh became an instant fan, and when they connected, Stell became his mentor, which led to them becoming co-members, and they went on to win numerous K-pop dance cover competitions all over Asia. They even met BTS during one of their winning runs in Korea. So from champions to trainees, what else is in store for them?
Ken or Justin? I think it's Justin next, right? Ken was the last member, wasn't he?
From then on, their lives became all about performing in small events and training.
We had one mentor when we were training. Tapos, more on personality development siya. Tapos, presenting ourselves on stage.
We had no idea that the Korean style training they went through
It's far, far from what they've been doing sa Korea.
was nothing but a mere marketing strategy.
But yung skill-wise, parang ganun. We were left on our own.
They were left alone to fend for themselves, sharing knowledge to improve each other with the hope of making the cut. Some sources told
They're
me
doing
that
the
Pablo had to
mannequin-
record some of
mannequin
their vocal
pose.
sessions to effectively
Yeah,
coach his
Cassandra.
trainees. All of that without salary.
It makes you
This
grateful.
went on for roughly a couple of years, and I don't know about you guys, but this for me sounded kind of brutal. It's not easy to keep doing the same thing over and over and over again without any form of guidance. They were also kept in the dark about their debut date. So frustration started brewing until it reached the point when it only took one trigger to call it quits. On one seemingly normal training day, all trainees were already in the studio, except for Josh. On the same morning, the train broke down.
Nasira MRT during that time. Nasira yung MRT.
Sinuspindi ang operasyon ng MRT dahil sa power outage.
It wasn't really an accident, but this would still worry anyone, especially the trainees, because it's highly unusual for Josh to miss training. Later that morning, Josh arrived. His co-trainees felt relieved because Josh turned out to be safe. You would think that their company would react the same way, right? Wrong. they decided to terminate his training.
Na-late ako, tapos tinanggal ako.
That
Really?
was the trigger.
From one?
Tinanggal po ako. Nag-quit
One?
din yung mga grupo ko.
One time?
Nag-quit din sila kasi parang naging trigger na point na kung tatanggalin mo si Josh,
Umalis kami sa grupo.
ganun mo lang kadali itapon yung lahat ng efforts and passion tsaka dreams namin.
Show BT had two choices: to keep all trainees or to keep no trainees. The company chose the latter. Everyone left except for Stell.
Parang si Stell lang yung naiwan po nun talaga sa training room. Tapos talagang down na down lahat.
Si Stell natira kasi doon during that time.
Stell set aside all his frustration and remained focused on his goal, while Pablo was devastated.
All hope is lost parang nung time na yun.
In Josh's case, we can only imagine the pain he must have felt to have been booted out of his dreams.
Bruh.
They
I wonder if, like, during that time that Josh felt responsible in a way, right? Like, because all that happened because he was tardy, right? Like, he can laugh about it now, but I'm wondering, like, at that time, he probably felt really down about the whole situation and for everybody.
passed, everyone's still feeling down about that incident. Then Pablo's phone receives a message.
Brother, tumalik ka na, brother.
It was Josh. Out of all the trainees, the guy that got sent packing was the same guy who actively convinced everyone to continue chasing their dreams. Perhaps this was the sheer guts and determination from his life experiences in full display. Pablo hurried back to
And like when you like it is like what Chuck says here, you know,
convince everyone to continue chasing their dreams. Perhaps this was the sheer guts and determination from his life
from his life experiences, right? So like when you've gone through so many ups and downs and you've hit the bottom so many times, you realize that you have to go through a period of time. You know, there's a period where you have to feel, you have to, you know, go through the motions of what your thoughts are, and then you have to get back into it. Josh probably has done this so many times that he's able to go through these motions, hit rock bottom, get through this stuff quicker than most people would in his shoes, and see clearly again.
experiences in full display. Pablo hurried back to the studio to find Stell alone.
Stell,
But
holding
not
it
for
down.
long. Josh came back next and took the initiative to convince the company to have them back.
Pumunta lang po ako doon at syempre kung kinakailangan na makiusap.
So back to training, they went.
Hindi ka naman magkahiwalay ng grupo, pero bumalik sila kasi hindi nila ako inuman.
Of course, how could you leave
There
Stell?
was only 3 of them
can't.
for a while. Then a few other trainees started coming back. So Show BT put together a talent workshop to get
And it just shows you the strength of Stell, you know, amongst everybody disbanding, everything's breaking down. The only thing that didn't break down is Stell. Like, Stell is the rock. He is the statue. He is the tree holding everything together, right? Like, in that moment, if Stell would have left, there would be no training. He kept it all together when all was crumbling.
more talents
Stell,
to
though.
keep the business going. This was batch 1. This was batch 2.
Target locked.
Justin
Justin.
Dios. He got scouted right away because he was a very good-looking guy and already was a decent singer and dancer. When he joined,
Yep.
he immediately saw a familiar face in Josh.
You look familiar. As do you.
Apparently, Josh
Yeah,
told
it's a good point, Lynn. Like, they were already having doubts of their future due to years of training, right? Like, years of training also with no benefit. Like, these guys were training, but nothing was happening. So they were constantly, like, questioning, like, should we keep doing this? You know, like, should I go a different route? Like, is this something worth continuing? There was
Justin
no
about
benefit.
the workshop because the two already had a stint performing together in a dance cover group called Zero to
Yeah.
Hero. So Justin as well wasn't new
Yeah,
in
he
the world
does.
of performing. He auditioned to be a part of the televised Pinoy boy band Superstar, but he didn't even make it to the live auditions. Perhaps it was fate.
Yeah.
That group is nowhere to be found today. Justin obviously deserved better. He
Yeah.
went on to finish his college degree in multimedia arts while training, which earned him a filmmaking skill that would prove very
Like Justin seems like the type of person to where not much is gonna keep him down. Like he's probably one of those guys that doesn't allow himself to get stressed out too much. Life happens around, and there's a lot of things we can't control. Justin probably understands this very well, and he probably can say, "It didn't work out. I'm moving on to the next thing." You know, he has so many talents outside of performing, right? Like the guy is a genius on so many different aspects of the world, multimedia. You know, like uh,
crucial
his
to their
intelligence level is
success
very
in
high.
the future. With Justin on board, this completed their prototype boy group.
Paradox.
It's composed of Justin, Pablo, Stell, Josh, Zeno, Kurt, and JP. They did multiple test runs leading up to
Level-headed,
their
what's
entry
up?
to Pinoy K-pop Star 2017. They performed B-Day by Icon in an epic fashion, but they didn't win. At this point, Show BT seemed to have hit a roadblock. The group felt like something was missing. I don't exactly know what happened to Zeno, Kurt, and JP. They either quit or Show BT felt the need to let go of them and get someone who could take this already great group of guys and push them to achieve
We're only
the
missing
next
one
level,
guy.
the extraordinary level. This years in the making project of Show BT needed to reach its peak. So they started the online auditions. When Josh heard about it, he was like,
I know a guy. Was that Justina?
The guy he was talking about was a pain in his butt because their groups have
Yeah,
clashed
yeah,
multiple
yeah.
times in their early dance competitions and their battles were always neck and neck. That guy's name
You know, it's cool too because if you've ever been in a competitive, anything competitive to where you compete with someone else, there, when you're competing against somebody, you gain a tremendous amount of respect while competing. Like, of course, you don't want the other person to win while you're competing. However, when you can real recognize real, when somebody's on the same level as you, they're able to push you as hard as you can go, become the best of yourself. I'm sure Josh knew this as they're
was
competing.
Philip John Suson. He was such a specimen. He was so naturally gifted that excelling in sports looked like a walk in the park for him. He grew up in the church under the care of
hello.
his grandparents. He was an artistic kid, so he was active as an editorial cartoon
Sarah, yes. Hello. Hello, Jade. Welcome to the stream. Welcome. And thank you. I appreciate that. He's becoming an 18 now, I guess. You know what? If your husband is getting into SB19, there's no better time to get into it than right now because they have so much amazing content. But this next year, I'm telling you, this next year is going to be humongous.
cartoonist in school. Nobody taught him how to play musical instruments. He taught himself by just listening to the music, so he ended up becoming a southpaw guitarist, but he later then fixed it as he learned more. He was also a gifted singer as a kid. Every time there was a family gathering, he was always forced to sing karaoke by his relatives. But when he hit puberty, he lost confidence in his voice because he could no longer hit high notes. But his confidence came back after being mentored by Pablo, who taught him how to harness his unique low voice that seemingly sounds like it came from the underworld.
Yo, Chuck, man, I see what you're doing over there, boy. Your editing is the time you took to perfect this.
His unique low
Do you see the
voice
clarity
that
of this?
seemingly sounds like it came from the underworld.
Oh, go back.
When it comes to dance, he didn't know he could do it until he was forced to in order to
Good
get
stuff.
good grades during their school intramurals.
Rockstar.
After discovering dance, he transformed from a guy who didn't know it to someone who can fly. Because of his raw talent, he ended up teaching dance to the entire school and continued on to join the dance group called Amigo 7. a would-be rival of Josh and Stell's crew, Seyon. It quickly became a reverse if you can't beat them, then join them kind of deal.
Yeah,
So Josh
course.
recruited Ken. But there was a problem. He was hundreds of islands away and didn't have the money. What did Josh do? He shelled out
gave
for
him
his
the
plane
money.
ticket. With nothing else to lose, Felipe went and left his previous life in the countryside. He then trained with the boys and officially debuted with them as Ken, the main dancer, the bass vocalist, and the lead rapper of the group. One thing to note is that they were an unlikely bunch because they wouldn't have met each other if Tatang Robin stayed with his already successful group in Korea. Justin didn't make it in his first audition, so he almost didn't try again until Josh told him to do so. And Ken wouldn't even have the opportunity to join if the Show BT trainees didn't come back after that quitting incident. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the butterfly effect. When a small and seemingly insignificant occurrence has a rippling effect through time, leading to a consequential event sometime long after the initial event. Or as Google would put it, the phenomenon whereby a minute localized change in a complex system can have large effects elsewhere. Tatang Robin's so-called
Yeah, like you could almost say like it's part of the multiverse, right? Like these events had to happen in order for this to happen. If one thing didn't happen on this timeline, this would never have happened. I love the way that Chuck the way he described this um is very clear. Very good, Chuck. Yes.
mistake back in 2002 led to forming the future P-Pop Kings. In 2018,
Gel, San Jose.
SB19 was formed. The name of the group was
Welcome.
carefully picked. The number 19 is the sum of Korea and the Philippines country code digits, 82 and 63.
Yep.
So 8 plus 2 plus 6 plus 3 is 19.
SB19
If you
show
subtract both
BT
numbers,
19.
you also get the
Korean,
same result. SB doesn't only mean show BT. It is also about their ultimate goal for Pinoy sound to break into the music industry,
Sound
which is
break.
fearlessly represented by this phrase. Sound break.
Sound break. Chuck, you created a masterpiece, my friend. That was fantastic. This is perfect too, especially for the newer SB19 fans, even for the older SB19 fans. But definitely for the new ones who really want to learn about them, because one of the things that that that, that had me gravitate towards SB19 is this is learning their journey and who they are, and then their music and their lyrics, like everything. It all makes sense from where they come from to what they talk about in their music. Incredible. Incredible, Chuck. Thank you for this. That was awesome. Yeah, that was so good. SB19, we are ready for you. February 28th, right? Is the new song.